What's up, beautiful people? We're back with another episode of the Healing Arts. This is a segment where I talk about things that I've noticed with patients. A lot of it revolving around mindset. And what I want to talk about today is obstacles. Because when you've been taking care of people as long as I have, you've seen people walk through the journey. And some people are more successful on their journeys than others. And one of the things that I've repeatedly seen is how we interact with obstacles. And it starts when we're even planning our journey. I always tell people, plan for obstacles, plan to have obstacles. You will have obstacles. Oftentimes we think that our journey, whatever it's going to be, weight loss or progress in the gym, is going to be linear, that it's just going to go and go and go and go and go until we achieve our goal where nothing bad is going to happen along the way. I remember, and I told this to a patient, the first time I ever dunked, I was 13 years old, 12 or 13. It was ninth grade, and it was at the end of the season, and we had just finished practice. Back then we didn't really have like scheduled practice after the season. We usually scrimmage or something like that, just kind of played some 5-on-5. And one of my friends, Dan Howder, went up and dunked. And I said, okay, well, let me see if I can dunk. And I went and I dunked the basketball. And I was so excited. And then I could not dunk again for 6 months. It was so frustrating. But then eventually I got the timing and the rhythm down, explosiveness, and I was on my way. But that's what happens usually in life is that we hit obstacles whenever we decide to put our mind to something. And I love in Tommy Ward's book, he talks about the WHOOP framework, wish, and so whatever we want, outcome, how we're going to measure that. How are we going to determine our success? And then obstacle. And so everyone is going to have different obstacles on their journey. We could have 10 people on a weight loss journey. They're going to have 10 different obstacles. What stands in their way? Maybe for one, it's sweets when they go out to eat. Maybe for another, it's overeating when they're stressed. Maybe for another, it's they're not intaking enough fruits and vegetables regularly to help with satiety. So whatever it is, when you're really figuring out how you're going to do things, you need to look at what are my obstacles realistically. And those have to be individualized. I don't think we spend enough time being introspective, looking at ourselves and how we operate. And I often think that our obstacles and failure to pass through them, it's not a personal issue. It's not a willpower issue. It's often a systems issue and tools issue that we didn't think about the obstacles. We didn't think about what tools do I need to overcome these obstacles? What skills do I need to learn to overcome these obstacles? Who do I need to help me overcome these obstacles? And so whenever I think about this framework, before I even knew about the WHOOP framework, that's what I do. And then when I come up with a comprehensive plan, I make sure that I have a plan for whatever obstacles I've identified. And of course, there are going to be ones that pop up along the way, but then you reinstitute the same framework, you create the same system. One of the books I read, and I can't remember which one, talked about having if then when plans. So if this happens, then I'm going to do this when this happens. So, for example, for me, like when I eat out, I adopt the same framework usually of what I eat at home. I construct my meals the same. I think about one third of my plate being protein, a third being vegetables, and a third being usually carbohydrates or something like that. Sometimes it's half meat, sometimes it's half vegetables. It just kind of all depends on where I am, my calorie intake for the day, and then my goals. So having those plans allows me to have flexibility and allows me to stay in line even when circumstances around me are different. So that's what I wanted to talk about today in the healing arts. I often help people try to overcome these obstacles with either mindset shifts, tools, frameworks, systems, skills. This is how we can progress on our journey to achieve our health goals.